Hey, what's up everyone? This is MusicTechHelpGuy, and we were at NAMM 2025 this January, and I wanted to do some quick overviews of some of the new products that I thought were the most interesting and innovative. You know, stuff that I would want to put on my personal studio wish list. The last day we were there, we stopped by the Flock Audio booth, and I was particularly interested in their line of digitally controlled analog Patchbays. And they have several different models of these at different price points. These all take DB25 connectors in the back, just like your typical Switchcraft Patchbays do, but because the patching is all handled by their Patch app, there's no need for any patch cables. This also makes it easy to upgrade your existing studio setup. Now, if you've ever worked in a professional studio before, you know that a patch bay is a must. Having a patch bay means that you can connect all of the inputs and outputs of all of your gear in one place, so you can route any source you want to any destination that you want. So let's take a look at Flock Audio's patch bays. The most affordable option is the Patch LT, which is a 32-point patch bay. So this gives you 16 inputs and 16 outputs on the back. The USB port is just for controlling the Patch app software, and then you have a 24-volt power supply. You also get a single pass-through input and output for channel 16 on the front, which means if you need to connect a microphone, instrument, or other piece of gear from the front, you can. Even their base model here is probably a little pricey for most home studio folks at $2,000, but this is all about convenience, so you can decide for yourself whether it's worth it. Patch is a step up from Patch LT and is a 64-point option in the same 1U format. This gives you 32 inputs and 32 outputs over DB25. And on the front, you get 2 optional inputs and outputs on channels 31 and 32. This also gives you some additional indicators on the front of the unit, including one for phantom power. All of these units have the option to supply phantom power on their inputs. Again, this is probably crazy expensive for most home studio enthusiasts, but honestly, at $3,100, this is probably the option I would get just to have that extra I/O for future upgradability. And I'm looking at getting some additional inputs for my Symphony I/O and also some external analog preamps soon. So adding a patch bay back into my setup is going to be a necessity. And lastly, Flock has some really high-end premium versions of this that only a big pro studio would really need. The Patch VT has 128 points, so that's 64 in and 64 out. That'll run you a cool $9,000. The Patch XT has 192 points, so 96 in, 96 out. These go for $13,000. So yeah, definitely way out of my price range. And they also have a Patch LV that is meant for live sound and also has Dante connectivity. While I was at the booth, I had a chance to play around with the Patch app, and it's really cool. It's basically drag and drop. So for example, if I wanted to route output 9 of my interface to path 7, it's as simple as just dragging and dropping the output on the correct path. And the cool thing about the app is that you can save your configurations or your routings. So if you have a certain configuration of preamps and gear you use for drum tracking, you could save that as a preset and pull it up with just a few clicks. Then switch over to a different recording preset for vocals. And maybe you have a certain mixing preset. Then you could go back to the drum preset. So it makes saving all of your routing configurations super easy, so you're not having to write down all of your gear configurations for later, just like we used to do in the studio. And if you need something a little more mobile, there's also an iPad version of the app if you need to be away from your computer while patching up your gear. So those are the Flock Audio analog patch bays with digital control. Again, probably outside the price range for most home studios, but if you're starting to accumulate gear like me and you just want to get everything connected in one place for easy routing, these could be a great option. I worked out the math, and if I bought a Switchcraft 64-point patch bay plus 4 8-packs of TT patch cables, you got to remember about the cable cost, I'm going to be looking at around $1,500 or $1,600 versus the Flock Patch 64-point and no patch cables. I'm looking at $3,100. So you have to ask yourself, is the extra $1,500 worth the convenience alone? And well, you'll have to decide that for yourself. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to see our last few videos from NAMM 2025. And then I'll be going back to my normal tutorial content and Friday live streams later this week. Thanks for the support, and thanks for watching.